Hey guys, it's Sebastian here. I've been playing disc golf for, this will be my 5th year now, but I haven't done in the bag in a while, so I'm going to give you guys an update of what's in my bag going into the 2024 season. Start with the putters, then move through to the distance drivers. Start with, I have Exo Soft Links. Those are my putting putters. These are really nice. I've been using these for 3 years now. Not these exact ones, but just Exo Soft Links in general. They have a slight puddle top, which is really nice. They have a nice bead to them, and they're pretty straight, which is a little bit of fade at the end. Not too much glide, so they're not going to go floating past the basket if you miss. I like the Exo Soft plastic because it's firm, but it has a little bit of give to it, so you can kind of dig your fingers in a little bit, get that nice grip on it. I also use these for forehand upshots. They come out of the hand really cleanly, and occasionally I'll use them for some backhand putter throws if I want something that's going to pan from left to right. Next up, I have a Neo Link. This is my throwing putter per se. It's quite straight in the premium plastic, so I'll use this for basically any angle that I need to. When I need to use a throwing putter, I can put on anhyzer, I can put on hyzer, I can throw it flat. I'll probably use this up to 85 meters, kind of that 275 foot range. That's really good disc in my bag as well. Next up, I have an Exo Soft Tactic. This I use primarily for forehands, almost exclusively for forehands actually. It's quite beat up now, so it's pretty straight. It just has a little bit more torque resistance, a little bit more bite at the end as opposed to my Links. So I'll use it for a similar distance, maybe up to 60 meters, but it'll fight wind a little bit better. I can do like little baby flicks. I know it's just going to get a little bit of fade at the end, so if I'm not feeling so confident in my forehand or I need something with a little bit more stability, I'll be reaching for this. Then lastly, I have an MD5 and a Mutant, both very overstable. The MD5 goes a little bit further. It's quite overstable, but it still has a good pushing fade to it. So it'll resist wind really well, but it still has that distance when I need it, which is why it's also good for my forehands, because I don't have a super powerful forehand. So if I want something quite overstable, this lower speed on a forehand, then I'll reach for the MD5, because I know that I can still push it out there 65 meters-ish. It's going to get there, but it's still going to have that nice reliable hook at the end. I'll also throw this backhand up to 90 meters. I've been really liking this disc since it came out. Feels really good in the hand. Really dependable, nice overstable, goes far. It's a really nice disc. And then lastly, for my putt and approach discs, I have a Mutant. This is a Lux Vapor one. Looks cool with the Team Disc Mania stamp on it. This thing is a meat hook. This is the disc that I pull out if I need distance control. I don't want to go past 70 meters on a backhand or past 60 on a forehand. I can rip on this and it just does not want to go anywhere. So if there's OB behind the basket, if there's a drop off, anything like that, I'll be reaching for this disc because I know that it's not going to go too far and I can really rip into it with confidence. It will also resist any wind. In fact, sometimes I even have to throw an anhyzer even in a headwind just to get it to go anywhere. It's really overstable, has very low glide, so super dependable, gives me heaps of confidence in the wind. Really nice disc. Also, it feels really good in the hand too. It's nice and flat top. It's got kind of a chunky rim as well, so when I want to throw hard, I pull out a disc and it has that really nice solid thick rim to it. It gives me confidence in my throw. So that's it for the top pocket. Moving on to kind of my more conventional mid-ranges, I have 3. Starting off with, I have a Neo Origin. Got a nice wee dye I did on this one. This one's a couple years old now. I don't throw it a whole lot, but if I need a hyzer flip mid-range, I can put on a lot of hyzer and just have it flip up to flat, or I can add a little more power and have it flip up and then just drift over to the right. This is what I'll be reaching for. It's really flippy. It's also great when I'm warming up. This is the disc I'll pull out whenever I'm warming up and just throw it nice and soft. So it doesn't get used a lot, but if I need to, it's there. It's also nice for like some little forehand turnovers, touchy forehands. Yeah, like I said, I don't use it a whole lot, but it's there if I need it. Moving on to the other 2, I have MD3s. This is my straight one. This is a Color Glow C-Line MD3. It's the Iron Samurai 3. I like the pink ones because they're bored flat. They fit into the hand really nicely, backhand and forehand. I'll be using this backhand for straight, kind of put on a little bit of ante, have it pan over, maybe ever so slight hyzer flip, especially if there's a little bit of a headwind. This is what I'm reaching for, anywhere between maybe 80 to 100, maybe even push it a little bit further than 100 meters. It goes really far and it goes really, really straight. So I can rip on this as hard or soft as I want, and it just goes really, really straight. So that's really valuable to have a disc like that in your bag. So I really like this disc for that. It's really reliable, it's consistent, and yeah, it applies the same at a lot of different power levels, which is nice. I also really like it for forehand. When I'm dialed in with this thing, I use it forehand up to 70 meters, just laser beam forehands, because of that flat top, like I mentioned earlier, fits really nicely into the hand, and I love the way that the rim feels, yeah, backhand and forehand, just really slots in nicely. It gives me confidence when throwing. And then lastly, I have the C-Line MD3. This one has just a little bit of dome to it, and I think that adds a bit of stability. This one's pretty overstable for an MD3, so this is my standard overstable mid-range. It still has the MD3 glide, so it still pushes nice and far, but it has a good smooth fade at the end that I can depend on, so I can even throw a little flex line, it'll come out, it'll fade still. So it's, yeah, maybe not your normal MD3. Normally they're pretty straight, but this one has a good bit of fade to it. So if I need a nice smooth overstable mid-range shot, I'll be reaching for this. Next up, we have Fairway Drivers. Wow, I've got a lot of Fairway Drivers. I'll start with the slower speed ones. I have four. Start off with, I have a C-Line FD, got a little Flammable Salt signature on there from back when it was still sponsored by Discmania. This is an incredible disc. I don't know why I did not bag an FD for a couple years. I had one back closer to when I first started disc golf, and I thought it was incredible. And for some reason I took it out of my bag and then thought that I didn't like FDs. I don't know what happened there. This thing is amazing. I just put this in my bag a month or two ago. It goes so far. It goes like beautiful hyzer flips. It'll forehand as well. It feels really smooth in the hand. It's nice. Has ever so slight dome to it. Lots of glide. I can throw a hyzer flip to turnover. It's just super versatile. It goes really, really far. It can handle a lot of power. Just such a good all-around disc. Yeah, so that's FD, and then I have also an FD1 and C-Line as well. This is the next step up in stability, or maybe a couple steps up actually. It's pretty stable. This one won't get any turn at all. I can throw it as hard as I want. It's gonna go straight, and it's just gonna have a little bit of reliable fade at the end. You can also throw a little flex, get a baby flex line as well, and maybe some forehands too. I think it's kind of underrated fairway driver, to be honest. It is really, really nice disc. It can handle so much power, a little bit like that Color Glow MD3 I was talking about. It can handle heaps of power, and it applies the same. Just go straight, fade at the end. It can handle some headwind. It's just such a good disc. A little bit less glide than that FD as well. It's going to get to the ground a little bit faster and not go floating away on you. So if I need a reliable fade without having without dumping or skipping, but still a reliable fade, I'll be reaching for this in the fairway driver category. Next up, I have two Essences. These things are workhorses. I love the Essence. Such a nice disc. Feels so good in the hand. Whenever I step up to a shot, I get to throw an Essence, especially on forehand. It just gives me so much confidence. These are such nice fairway drivers. This one is 2 years old, the neoplastic, and it's really, really beat up. So for backhand rollers, maybe extreme hyzer flip up turnovers, and then also hyzer flip forehands. Love this for hyzer flip forehands. When I get this right, I can just pump it on hyzer and it'll just flip up and go straight for ages, up to 90 meters sometimes. So I'll be pulling this out, especially to hit gaps in the woods. Love this one for forehand. And then I have the Zen. This is a Meta Essence. I've got a little Mario die on it. Shout out to Disco Fever. It's very cool. This one's a bit more stable. I can still throw a hyzer flip to turnover, and I can still throw rollers with it, but it's a little bit more stable. It'll hold up to back-end power a little bit more. Yeah, I can pump this on a heap of hyzer, so it's great for hitting gaps. And also the forehands as well. Maybe not so much hyzer as that last one. I can throw it flatter and just have that straight forehand. So this is really nice. Forehand, again, up to 90 meters maybe sometimes if I hit the angle right. and backhand up to 110 meters before it starts getting a little bit too flippy, or for rollers as well. And then moving on to the next set of fairway drivers, got 9 speeds here. I've got the Vanguard Kyle Klein Creator Series. Very, very nice disc. Has a nice rounded rim on the bottom, which feels so good in the hand. When you pick up a disc like this, it looks cool, it feels great, just instills confidence. Really nice disc. Forehand up to about 70 meters, just go straight with a bit of fade. And then backhand up to 100, 110 meters. Has a little bit of flip up, just got a little bit of turn, but it still always has that fade at the end. Super nice disc, looks really cool. Great to have this one in the bag. And then I have an FD3 in the Horizon Plastic. This is the Junebird 4. This thing is one of my favorite discs in the bag. Whenever I need to throw a hyzer with a fairway driver up to 100 meters, this is what I'm reaching for. This thing is so good. It's a step up in stability from the FD1 I was talking about. That's good for hyzers too. But this one here, I'm talking like spike hyzers, skip hyzers, forehand hyzers. But backhand up to 100 meters, I feel so confident in this disc. I have it dialed in. I can just rip it up high, out wide, just always have it spike back in towards the basket. Really nice, good skip. Feels really nice in the hand. Has just a little bit of depth to it. It's not board flat, and so because of that, it has a little bit more depth to it, which allows me to get my fingers in there for a confident release. It's not slipping out or anything like that, so that's nice. And then forehands, probably 60, 70 meters for a nice overstable forehand. Really, really nice disc. One of my favorites of all time. And then I also had the Splice, also dyed by Disco Fever. Very, very cool dye. Got one, this is a CTP at the Bottle Lake Open last year. The Splice is a big step up in stability from the FD3. FD3 is overstable, but it still has some glide. This just wants to dump. This is the fairway driver of mutants. It is so overstable. I can put it up there, just have it spike almost straight down, very little right to left movement. Crazy flicks, skip shots, maybe some insane like forehand where I just need to like rip onto something and just have it hook really hard. Doesn't come out of the bag often, but when I need it, it's there and it looks really cool if nothing else. It's very, very good disc, very reliable. Feels amazing in the hand as well. I love the hand feel of this one. That's nice. And then we go to the back of the bag. We have a tilt in here too in the Meta Plastic. The Splice is overstable, but the tilt is on a whole nother level. The tilt is incredible. Again, doesn't come out of the bag often, but if I need something to go straight up and straight down, I'll just throw it up there, flat or on hyzer, and it just tilts and just boom, spikes straight down. So you can throw spike hyzers in a straight line. It's a very, very cool disc. Also fun for trick shots and messing around at the course, but it does come out every once in a while during tournament, and when I need it, it's there, and it's such a good disc. Moving on to the distance drivers, I have 3 11 speeds. 2 of them are DD1s. I'll start with this one. This is the Horizon DD1. I'm a little bit unsure about whether I want to keep this one in the bag or not. I had a Horizon DD1 before this one, and it got beat in too much, and I had to put it on the shelf. And I put in this one. It doesn't quite fly the same. So I'm not sure if I'll keep it in the bag, but the idea is that I can just pump it on hyzer and just have it flip up and go straight. Feels good in the hand. So whether I keep this in the bag or not, I'm not sure. It's a bit more stable than I expected it to be in the blue plastic, the blue colorway, sorry. So I'm not sure if I'll keep this one or not, but if it beats up a little bit and I can get that nice hyzer flip up and straight, maybe a little bit of turn, then I think it'll stay in the bag because it is really nice when you get those beat up to the right. Stability. And I have this S-Line one here as well. I really like this color. This is turquoise, teal, I don't know. It's very nice though. Feels incredible backhand. I can pump this on hyzer. It'll flip up to flat. It's similar stability to the other one at the moment. That's why I want the other one beat in, so that they're a little bit different, because right now there's a bit of overlap. And because of that, whenever I need a DD1 shot, I'm reaching for this one. This S-Line plastic feels incredible. I can really grip into it. Feels so good in the hand. Just gives me confidence on those hyzer flips, hitting gaps. Such a nice disc. And then lastly, my favorite Discmania disc of all time, favorite mold I should say, is the PD3. I had this in the glow plastic. This thing is crazy. Back before I had FD3s and PD2s and those other overstable discs, back before I was able to get some of those, back in the pandemic when it was kind of hard to get a hold of discs, I managed to get my hands on one of these things, and it was just my workhorse for everything overstable in the driver category. You can throw it soft, you can throw it hard, It can go as far as you want it to, or short as you want it to. Forehand, backhand, it's quite overstable, but it has a lot of glide to it as well. Flight numbers are 11.305, but I would say it's not quite that stable, but it'll still resist wind really, really well, and it wants to go really far. So this is a really nice workhorse. I don't use it as much anymore, but it's there if I need it in between FD3 and PD2. Moving on to 12 speeds, I have this Cloudbreaker 3. This is my flippiest one. I use this for forehands, goes pretty straight, which is a little bit of fade at the end. Backhands, like put on heaps of hyzer, have it flip up, maybe turn a little bit to backhand rollers. Just a workhorse, understable distance driver. Still has integrity lift, so it's not going to burn over on me or anything like that. It's just nice and flippy. Good for all my understable distance driver needs. And then I have just the plain Cloudbreaker. This is my workhorse when there's not so much wind. I have a Horizon one for if there's a little bit more wind. This is my standard do everything distance driver. I can throw hyzer flips, I can throw turnovers, distance lines, forehand straight to like a decent fade at the end. I've had this in the bag for about a year now, and it hasn't lost much stability, to be honest. It's got a lot of scuffs and dings and nicks in it, but its stability has stayed pretty similar to when I first got it. It's a really nice disc. And then I have this Horizon one. I just put in a Freshie in the bag. Super nice disc. I had Horizon Cloudbreaker like this one before, but it got a little bit too beat up, so I put in this one. This is workhorse, slightly overstable distance driver. So anything on hyzers, if I need a forehand, I don't have a super strong forehand. So if I need a forehand that's gonna hook pretty hard, I'll reach for this. But backhand, I can get a little bit of flip up out of it. Or put in lots of hyzer, it'll stay on that hyzer angle. Hyzers up to, I'd say around that 120 meter mark is probably where I'll be throwing this at. And I could maybe push it out a little bit further on flatter lines. It's just a good, dependable distance driver. So if there's OB on one side or the other and I need to throw a hyzer, or if there's a little bit of a headwind, that kind of stuff, or if I'm a little bit unsure on that other one, my release angle or something like that on the day, this is dependable, it's overstable, still has glide, still has distance. It's just a really good all-around distance driver. I also have one of the Golden Horizon ones. This one's much more stable. It's absolute meat hook. So it still goes pretty far, but it just wants to dump out or resist any wind. I can rip it on anhyzer. It goes pretty far, but it's super stable. So just the next step up in stability for that if it's really windy or if I need something really beefy. And then lastly, I have a C-Line PD2. This is the only old Discmania original disc I have in my bag, and I have a couple of the new S-Line PD2s on their way from the mystery box. So as soon as those come, hopefully I can swap this one out. Those are going to be incredible. But for now, I have this in the bag. This is ridiculously overstable, so overstable. It's not a particularly glidey run either, so it just dumps. So any wind, any spike hyzers that I just need to dump really, really quickly, reaching for this. Doesn't come out of the bag often, but if I need something with 100% dependability and confidence in the wind, this is what I'm reaching for. Those are all my discs in the bag for the 2024 season. My bag fluctuates on a somewhat regular basis because Discmania comes out with so many cool discs and I want to try them all. But that's pretty much a standard lineup. It won't deviate too much, but I'll try a little bit of different things here and there. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you later. That was really long. Probably close to 10 minutes, wasn't it? At least.
That was actually 20 minutes.
What? That was 20 minutes. Oh my goodness. I just forgot what I was going to say. I don't know when to plan this out this extensively.